Have you seen the Avengers Endgame? Have you seen it yet? Or should I say, haven't you seen it yet? I mean, you're going to see this huge, epic movie. I mean, it's like nothing you've ever seen before. I mean, you get to see the Hulk and Thor like you've never seen them before. Trust me on that. There's plot twists. There's a few unanswered questions. There's pathos. There's tragedy. There's pain. There's apocalypse. I mean, everything but the kitchen sink in a good way. More, maybe even more than you'd expect. I mean, it's epic. It's hard to begin, but I assure you, there's no. I'm going for no spoilers. The Butler did it. No, seriously. Anyway, so basically, and as can be expected, the Avengers do. They try to finish what the previous or undo what Thanos started, of course, in this movie, and it's kind of a bold movie, because they're not afraid to have that pathos and pain and all that. If you saw the first one, you know what Thanos planned on doing, and then at the end it appeared that he had gotten away with it, and the movie certainly delivers on that. Now, granted, some of the methods used to undo what he did have been done before in different ways, and it makes for some of the comedy relief, some of the conversations and all that. And of course, in that case, there's references to lots of different, mainstream, big and small screen sci-fi, and I'm like, sitting here watching a science fiction movie and thinking, but those are just movies and TV shows. So, if you haven't seen it, you'll see what I mean. Everybody's as much in top form as they could be. I could understand that not everybody was going to have a big old starring part because it's a big ensemble type of thing. So some of the characters from some of the other Marvel movies, they might be in there as little more than extras or very, very small bit parts, so that it isn't too crowded, because for good reason, there's already there's all the Guardians of the Galaxy, and there's all and the people from Ant-Man and all that. So of course, the proper characters have the bigger parts, but it's nice to see the other ones. It's nice to see the other ones for the brief fleeting times that you get to see them, and you get to see whether or not Captain America is going to wear his his costume. So there's some comedy relief and yet still some sadness, appropriately enough. When we first see Captain America, it's kind of funny, but it's kind of sad too. So that kind of worked out. That kind of worked out real well. And of course, Thanos is as imposing as always, and just kind of quietly complacent. He's been that way ever since the first movie, just kind of complacent and like that. So when you see whether or not they bring back the people that disappeared in the previous one, there's some scattered applause, and it's real cool. So I can't say too much without spoiling anything, but the movie has so much going on. It's got so much going on. And I will say, I was told just before seeing it that it was like, you still haven't seen Captain Marvel? It would have been a good idea to see Captain Marvel first. And all I can say is I haven't seen much of Captain Marvel, because in here she just has a small, presumably Deus Ex Machina part, but honestly it isn't really much of a part. She's kind of cute and everything, and I still want to see Captain Marvel, but it almost seemed like they had her in there just to have her in there. I mean, she kind of suggests some serious powers and all that, and I'm not really complaining but that's a complaint some people have. So as for all the other elements that Hollywood movies usually get right, the epic musical score by Alan Silvestri is still spot on. I mean, yeah, watching the Avengers with an ex-girlfriend, I mentioned that a lot of epic movies, the music sounds the same, and she agreed, but I don't remember if I told her, but I didn't mean it was bad. It was epic. It's supposed to be. It's good for the movie, and of course the cinematography, the effects, everything's good. Even if you're the type that doesn't like the movie, it's Disney and Paramount. Well, as we come to the end of this review, I will point out that everybody says it's the end of the Marvel universe, not just the Avengers. It is called Endgame for a reason. You'll see if you sit through the credits to see if there are any mid-credit or post-credit scenes. And it's called Endgame for a reason. And people keep saying it's the end of the last 22 movies. Well, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, in that case, Spider-Man Far From Home must be a reboot of the cinematic universe. And they're going to keep... I'll have to do some more research. As for the DC universe, HBO is reportedly remaking Watchmen with Don Johnson, no less, interestingly enough. So, basically, in a nutshell, get out there and see the Avengers if you haven't. If you don't see it at the show, which you really ought to, just see it on demand, see it on Blu-ray, just see it, but preferably at the show. Yeah, there was applause and there were some tears. So that's kind of interesting because there is some self-sacrifice in this movie too. So this is George shining off, saying go see Avengers Endgame, unless you're the type that probably wouldn't even watch this review because you don't like superhero movies or comic book movies and all that. And anyway, see you at the movies. Ciao.